Hello, this is Patrick at 1CNC West and welcome to the very first Tips for Turning video. In this video we're going to take a look at rough turning, and in fact we're going to focus on the start location. This is something we get asked for quite frequently, so I want to take just a couple of minutes and explain exactly how this works. Let's hit the spacebar twice to go to a CAD view, and let's take a look at the parameters here. We're going to right hand mouse click on the roughing operation. Let's go to edit operation, and we're just going to push through these dialog boxes until we get right here. This is exactly what I'm talking about, Z clearance and X clearance. This specifies the start location for the roughing operation. Now right now I have a Z clearance of 200 thousandths and an X clearance of 200 thousandths. Let me show you exactly how this works. Let's cancel out of that. I'm going to turn the solid model layer off and turn on this layer right here. And let's pull it down and zoom in just a little bit. All right, so if I have a Z clearance of 200 thousandths, that simply means that the roughing operation is going to start 200 thousandths away from the rightmost piece of geometry that I selected. So in this case, I had selected this geometry right here. And so the rightmost piece of geometry is this vertical line. So the roughing operation is going to start 200 thousandths in front of that. All right, now the X clearance works exactly the same way, except it works vertically. What this does is if we have an X clearance of 200 thousandths, that means that the roughing operation is going to start 200 thousandths away from the highest piece of geometry that we selected. And remember, I selected this group of geometry right here. So this horizontal line is the highest piece of geometry selected, so our roughing operation is going to start right there. All right, now that we know how to properly define the start point for our roughing operation, let's take into account some things we're going to need to consider and also a possible alternative. I'm going to quickly turn this layer off and let's quickly put in a rectangle there. This rectangle is going to represent our stock, and I'm saying that our stock has a radius value of 2.5 inches. All right, so rectangles are stock and the radius value is 2.5 inches. Well, it stands to reason that when we're setting up the start location for our roughing operation, we're going to need to know this distance right here, distance from the stock perimeter to the highest piece of geometry we selected for the roughing operation. All right, so that's going to take a little bit of math, which is no big deal, right? But I want to show you a way in which you don't have to do any math at all. If you were to do exactly what I've done here and just draw a rectangle to represent your stock, then all you need to do is this. Let's edit this, edit operation. Let's push through these dialog boxes here. All right, and you're going to see there's an option here called Select Boundary. Initially, this was set up and defined so that people could create a boundary and restrict their toolpath to that. Well, it also works for roughing as well. If I click Select Boundary, watch what happens to our Z clearance and X clearance values. As soon as I click this, those disappear. We don't have to worry about that. In fact, 1CNC has already scanned our drawing area, and it's noticed that there's one boundary. So it says number of boundaries 1. We'll click next on that. We don't have to change anything here. We'll click next, and then my cursor changes to the word boundary. So I'm going to left click the boundary, and there you go. Now the toolpath has taken into account the size of our stock without us having to do any math to calculate this distance right here for our start location. Very easy to do. So thank you so much for watching. Hope this has helped out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.